It's Lefty.
Hey, welcome to Con Air.
This is the Lefty Show.
Welcome, everybody, to the Lefty Show. Today is Monday, the 19th of May. Welcome, one and all, to the Lefty Show. I thank you all for being here. I, Lefty, am glad to be here with all of you. Hope to put on a good show for you today. Lots to talk about, lot to plan. Actually, I should bring up something on my PC here. Anyway, welcome, one and all, to the Lefty Show. Thank you all for being here. Thank you to everybody that's been watching and liking and favoriting on YouTube, subscribing there. Thank you to everybody that's been sharing the Lefty Show with your friends, your family, your coworkers. You've been helping the show grow, and I greatly appreciate it. And I thank you for continuing to do so. Thank you to everybody that's been donating. I'mRaising.com, baby. I'mRaising.com /643 Productions. If you want to help out the Lefty Show, you want to help out by donating and for hosting costs or studio tech or any kind of thing. You just want to help out Lefty. You want to be able to make sure I can go out and get myself some food, something like that. You can donate. I'mRaising.com /643 Productions. Donations are greatly appreciated. There is a link in the description, and thank you to everybody that has been donating. I really do appreciate it, and it has been helping me out. So like I said, got a lot of things planned today, got a lot to talk about. Lots been going on, oh man. We got to talk about the Twitch thing. Get to that. I will for sure get to that. But I went to see a movie yesterday. And yesterday was my girlfriend Katie's birthday, and so I tried my best to be away from the computer and be away from work for pretty much the entire day. And took her out and about and was just birthday stuff. Whatever you do for somebody on a birthday. Well, she wanted to go see a movie. And so we went to see Godzilla, it just released, I guess, is there such a thing as rebooting the Godzilla franchise? I mean, it's just you create another movie in the series. I'm not familiar with many of the other the original Godzilla movies, but it doesn't seem as though there's a lot of continuity in Godzilla, that there's all these these interwoven storylines. It just seems like you just make a new one, and so there's no real sense in saying, well, it's a reboot, because it doesn't matter if it's rebooted. There's no point in being rebooted because there's no continuity issues. But I guess some people are calling it a reboot. The last one was in 1998, and it was like, if you're a fan of Godzilla movies and just the cheesy gigantic lizard starts killing things, you probably didn't like the 1998 movie. I mean, the CGI for the time was pretty damn good, but overall, the movie was a little, I don't know. There wasn't a lot of Godzilla, and there wasn't a lot of Godzilla triumphing. And it was just, it wasn't your traditional Godzilla film. And Matthew Broderick, they tried to make it a Matthew Broderick film against the backdrop of Godzilla. And it just didn't feel right. Plus, the Godzilla was small relatively. It wasn't a gigantic beast. It was like a larger Tyrannosaurus Rex, and it was just bleh. But this movie, I can tell you, does not disappoint. I'm going to do a little quick review here. And this movie does not disappoint in terms of the size of Godzilla. And, of course, the CGI has done nothing but get better, and it looks incredible. It really does. But here's my problem with both Godzilla and just pretty much every disaster movie ever. And I don't mean 2014 or gigantic earthquakes. I'm talking about, when aliens invade, or when there are, big monsters that are showing up. Is that my big problem with the whole thing? I just can't. Suspending disbelief is what a movie is supposed to do. The movie is supposed to suspend your disbelief, and that's even more crucial when you're talking about aliens or gigantic lizards invading. is you're supposed to be able to suspend the disbelief of the people watching so that they can forget, oh, that's freaking ridiculous that there's a, 50-story, 150-story tall gigantic lizard that we've just kind of never seen before, and here he shows up and he's fighting these things, and it doesn't make any sense, and it's totally irrational, and I'm watching a movie and I'm no longer immersed in the product. And that's the whole idea of suspending the disbelief, is that you kind of forget, you kind of stop listening to that part of your brain that says, excuse me, this is kind of silly. Star Trek does it a lot. I mean, the whole idea of Star Trek and Star Wars, when you watch those movies, when you look back, you realize, oh crap, I was watching something that was completely fanciful. But the movies did a good job, or generally do a good job, of suspending the disbelief of, okay, just here, take all these things and accept them, and don't listen to that part of your brain that's telling you that this is, foolhardy and stupid and just bullshit. Just accept it. And my problem with disaster movies is that if they're not done right, that voice in my head just won't shut up. Now, maybe it's a personal thing. It's entirely possible that it's personal, but I can't help but think, it was inspired the thought again while watching Godzilla yesterday in the theater. I said to myself, what is it about disasters, gigantic disasters, whether they be aliens or walking lizards? What is it about that makes humanity just immediately stupid? Everybody in a disaster movie, humanity just immediately abandons all reason, abandons all rationality, doesn't listen to the people, I'm going to go to you because you're the expert, but I'm not listening to you anymore because blah, 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 blah. And it just, people get really stupid. There's a 150-story gigantic lizard, Godzilla, and they're shooting 50 caliber machine guns, shooting MP5 machine guns, 9mm bullets are being fired at something that's 50 stories tall at least. Now, I would assume that somebody, if it's a SWAT team or a member of the military, they would know what kind of caliber bullet they're firing, and they would be able to see their target. A guy that's trying to destroy, trying to bring down and demolition a building doesn't shoot 9mm rounds at it. Doesn't even shoot 50 caliber rounds at it. It gets incredible amounts of det cord and explosives and puts them in just the right area. It's not like, oh, maybe this will be the one. Maybe this 30-round 9mm magazine will be it. But in this movie, people are just, I'm firing. I mean, so what? It's fucking Godzilla. Okay. Now in the canon, they've never seen it before and they don't know what it's all about. But just simple reason would tell you, okay, all right, I've got this. Like a 9mm bullet isn't going to necessarily kill a human immediately. One single bullet will not necessarily kill a human on impact. You've got to shoot the human in the right part in order for that 9mm bullet to be fatal. That single 9mm bullet to be fatal on impact needs to be in one of a few key areas. But if you shoot a guy in the stomach, he's not necessarily going to die. If you shoot a guy with a 9mm in the leg and you miss I believe that's the femoral artery. If you miss that, guy's not going to die. You're just, he's going to hurt and be bleeding and going to incapacitate him, sure. But it's not going to kill him. So you know that, and you're trained about that when you're a police officer or when you're in the military. And then here comes a 50-story gigantic lizard. And you're going to be shooting your 9mm rounds at the 50-story gigantic lizard. Or your 50 caliber machine guns. Or when you're shooting your rockets at the gigantic lizard, you will completely forget about the fact that you're shooting at a gigantic bridge with people on it. Somehow all of that just goes out the window, and people just do things that are convenient to the plot. It's convenient to the plot that those idiots started shooting the 9mm rounds and pissed off the thing, and it started, hitting, crashing into buildings and whatever. and the powers that be just, what? How are we going to get these nuclear weapons? First of all, these things feed on nuclear energy somehow. They feed on radiation. I don't get it. And, apparently, instead of going to nuclear power plants, they try to eat nuclear missiles. And I don't think there's that much reactive nuclear material in a missile. You can find much more in other ways. But it's just all these things. People just completely go stupid. They just get stupid. I mean, as soon as something alien steps foot on planet Earth in these movies, humans just get really dumb. I mean, we are really dumb, but even relatively speaking, they just get stupid. And that's my problem with all these movies. And in Godzilla, I mean, Katie made a good point that it's very reminiscent of the classic Godzilla movies. It's an homage. It's more of an homage to those somewhat cheesy, or pretty damn cheesy movies, but everybody loved for whatever reason. And it's more of an homage to that, and it's not trying to be more than that. And that's probably the best argument that this movie has, is that, you go watch it, and if you pay too much attention to it, it falls apart completely. If you start pulling threads, or if you start looking for actual acting from any of the, top 3 screen time characters, it falls apart. But if it's like, you know what, I want to go see Godzilla break some shit, it's a decent movie. I wish there was more Godzilla. If I knew that, spoiler alert, earmuffs, kids, if you haven't seen it and you're planning on going to see it, if I knew that Bryan Cranston was not going to get the screen time that I thought he was, and that's all I'll say, Bryan Cranston, you might think, is like a part of this movie. He's not. He's just not. And I learned later that it was probably a personal choice from him after the huge success of Breaking Bad, and he just kind of wants to step away from it for a bit. Okay, all right, I get it, but Bryan Cranston is in all the fucking promos for this movie. So I went into this movie expecting Bryan Cranston, who I know is a very good actor, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get some. There's gonna be Godzilla, and there's gonna be acting, and it's gonna be amazing, and I want to see. No, that didn't happen anymore. No Bryan Cranston for a significant portion of the film, and kind of not a lot of Godzilla. I mean, there's Godzilla. They show Godzilla, but then they just show some emotionless automatron who's like, I must save my son and family. It's, there's no conviction, no real acting. And if there was going to be bad acting and you're going to try to shoehorn this love story and all this shit, give me Godzilla. I want more Godzilla, because the only thing that will make up for my lack of suspended disbelief when humans just get stupid, the only thing that will make up for that is some crazy fight sequences with Godzilla. And that would make up for the shitty acting and just the convenient plot devices that necessitate people being really, really, really stupid. There was a hole in Yucca Mountain. At one point in the movie, there was a gigantic hole in Yucca Mountain, the nuclear waste storage facility, which I guess isn't classified anymore. I thought it was. But that's where they put a lot of this spent nuclear fuel, is they put it in Yucca Mountain for all these reasons that I don't even understand. But they were cutting to people that were tracking the beasts, and I said, well, they're going to go to Yucca Mountain where they store all the radiation, all the radioactive materials that we use, and it cuts to some guys like creeping through the vaults of Yucca Mountain, like looking like, oh my God, where are they? Are they in here? Where is it? Well, they open a vault and there's a gigantic fucking hole that goes to the outside. Like, nobody flew around in a helicopter. Nobody could tell, hey, there's a gigantic gaping hole in the side of Yucca Mountain. Maybe that's where the thing was. Maybe something got into there. But no, at first, then you have to send the special ops guys, and they discover the gigantic fucking hole that apparently nobody saw. And the biggest problem was that you see about half the Godzilla fighting in grainy news footage that other people are watching. You see it in like third person or fourth person, if there is such a thing. You are watching somebody else watching coverage of it on TV. And that's where you see a lot of Godzilla fighting or these other things moving around. And I would have much rather have seen, I just wanted to see it. I just want to see that. So I don't care about the guy and his kid. I don't care. Show me, because you went bargain basement shitty acting for the guy who's trying to save his family or whatever. And Bryan, you didn't make that character Bryan Cranston for whatever reason. Show me more Godzilla. Just stop with the trying to weave a narrative and inspire me and help me connect with a character who can't act. No, just show me Godzilla. I can connect with Godzilla because Godzilla is very simple. Godzilla is just, I'm a gigantic lizard and I kill things. That's what I do. And the funniest part was that, spoiler alert, as we close out the movie review portion of the show, the funniest part was that at the end, spoiler alert again, Godzilla wins. And as he's walking in wrestling, they do this sometimes, where if it's a hard fought match, they will cover the winner's exit from the ring, and he'll be downtrodden and he'll be stumbling and wavering because it was such an incredible match, and it's supposed to sell the match even more, even after it's done. And you're supposed to think, my God, this guy just nearly killed himself to win this match, to win this belt, to whatever. And it's meant to sell it. And, everybody cheers it, and they set it up and so that the crowd goes nuts and, puts the fist up in the air as they leave and all that stuff. It's meant to sell the match after the match. Well, there's something like that at the end of Godzilla, where Godzilla is just walking out of the ruins of a city, but making his way towards the water, but he's still walking in a city. He's still ruining the city. Every step Godzilla takes, boom, 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 is crushing more man-made objects, crushing more buildings, and perhaps crushing more people, more trapped innocent bystanders as he walks out, as he saved humanity. And they set it up so that the people, again, you see it on the news, people are like cheering, like, Godzilla saved us, yeah, yeah, yeah. And all I could think of was they're watching something that's probably stepping on little pockets of humans trapped in rubble. And they're like, yeah, go Godzilla, woohoo, yeah. Just, I make the argument that the film tries to be more than a Godzilla film, because there is you've got to connect with this guy and his family and care about that storyline. And so I am going to treat the film as though it's trying to be more than your standard Godzilla movie. And if that is the context, or if that is the lens through which we view this film, the film's a gigantic pile of shit. It's just bad, because it's bad acting coupled with bad writing, coupled with bad plot devices, and no Bryan Cranston, or excuse me, very little Bryan Cranston, and not enough gigantic lizard. Now, if you talk about a Godzilla movie, if it's just, how is it as a Godzilla movie? It's pretty good. Stunning visuals. Godzilla is huge again, instead of just like kind of, like a mid-sized Tyrannosaurus Rex or whatever. And just gigantic, and it's pretty good in context of being just your standard Godzilla film. But I view it as more than that, because I believe it tried to be more, and just kind of bad. All right, so we got to talk about this. Told you I would. Twitch, the much loved video live streaming website, TwitchTV, is reportedly, now it's not official, it's been reported and covered by The Verge, covered by Forbes, and covered by many other people who have apparently sources close to this potential move. Twitch TV is in serious talks, and the word is from inside sources, not my inside sources, certainly, but the word is from inside sources that Twitch TV is going to be sold, or it's going to sell itself. It's going, it's just paying for college, kids. It's going to sell itself or be sold off to Google or Google's YouTube division for $1 billion. That's the sale price listed by many places, $1 billion. And they say that the price has been agreed upon, about $1 billion. It's going to be an all-cash offer. And I guess that just means that it's not like Google is going to give Twitch assets. It's going to, there's going to be $1 billion in a bank account. Or it's probably going to be, paid out over a few years. But the word is that they've agreed on the price, about $1 billion, like I said, and now any sticking point or the discussion now is how autonomous Twitch will be. Will Twitch be absorbed? Will there be no more Twitch.tv? Will Twitch's infrastructure just go to build out YouTube streaming infrastructure? Or will Twitch stay and remain as a brand name at Twitch.tv or Twitch.com or wherever else? And that is the discussion now, supposedly, between Twitch executives and Google. So $1 billion. Now keep this in mind. A couple years ago, Twitch was able to raise $35 million. Twitch was the offshoot of Justin TV, the offshoot. So many people were trying to string games to Justin TV. Twitch, the creator said, okay, we're gonna start something new. It's gonna be Twitch.tv. I guess Twitch is probably Twitch Shooter or Twitch Gaming, something like that. Anyway, started that up, and Twitch itself was able to raise $35 million in investment money, in startup money, and they are expected to turn a profit this year. Actually, turn a profit, no longer in the startup phase, but now in the profit generating phase. And so, for just a few short years, let's call it 3. Let's call it 4. A $35 million investment from a few people is going to be turned into $1 billion buyout, $1 billion price tag. That is certainly impressive and to be commended. And commended not just from the people that do it, not just the creator of Twitch TV, not just guys like Fuzzy Otterballs who are in on the ground floor, or Ernest Lee, or any of them, all those people that we know. I forget the guy's name, but his Twitter handle is John's Fat Cock. I don't know if he's changed that. Now, he's probably going to change that if Twitch goes big like this. But, John's Fat Cock just isn't $1 billion name. Unless the guy's just, baller like that. And he's like, no, my Twitter handle, I am going to represent Twitch, but my Twitter handle is going to be John's Fat Cock. Because Justin Wong, who is also pretty high up at Twitch, used to have the Twitter handle Fuzzy Otterballs before he was on his personal account. I think he did some work with Ubisoft and was in YouTube for a while. And he changed it. He changed his Twitter handle to that, Justin Wong. But I don't think John's Fat Cock has changed it. And if he's that baller, he's just like, this is it, man. John's Fat, I'm not changing it. I am John's Fat Cock. Well, good for him. But, oh, geez, what was I talking about? Anyway, let's reset. It's, anyway, I see I'm regaining my train of thought now. People, the people in the higher ups, the CEOs, the people that we know as the face of Twitch, it's good, fantastic on them. They are the ones that have been dedicating themselves and working hard to create this amazing product that many people use, many people enjoy, and generates a lot of money and a lot of revenue and a lot of interest to the point of $1 billion. But also, everybody that goes to Twitch should be happy. Everybody, or not happy, but celebrate the idea of, I've been going to this place, populating this place, and helping in some small way this place, Twitch.tv, grow from a $35 million startup company from venture capitalists to $1 billion asset bought by the biggest media company on the planet. And people that should be celebrated. All other things aside, the worry of well, how autonomous will Twitch be? Will there be a twitch.tv if this sale goes through? Or the worry about the Justice Department saying no to this deal because they do have that power. But just in a vacuum, I think people should be excited or should be happy for the moment of this was something that I helped, again, in some small way, and in however small of a way that you have, I have in some small way helped shape and helped grow this thing that is Twitch TV. I was streaming on Twitch TV. I wasn't one of the first guys, but I was there 3 years ago. Thereabouts. They were awful streams. But I was there 3 years ago. And I've been through the branding changes, and I've been through the different home pages and the layouts, and I've again, not on the ground floor. I didn't build Twitch. I didn't really significantly help build Twitch, but I did a little bit. I had a part, kind of. I'm not on the billing. I'm not on the poster. I'm barely in the credits, but I'm in the credits. The guy that did craft services or the wardrobe assistant sometimes gets their name in the credits of a movie. And I'm probably in that realm. It wouldn't be a travesty of justice if I were to get my name in the Twitch credits, or in the credits that is, Twitch's career. I mean, I've been there and built a decent following. And many of you have been there and watching and helping and watching advertisements and giving feedback to the people and continuing to populate their website, and you've helped. And for the moment, again, irrespective of everything else, we should be happy. Oh my God, this is a thing. From $35 million to $1 billion price tag. Google's YouTube division is going to buy this $1 billion asset. Now on to the worries. Now on to the realism. What is, everybody's kind of freaking out because YouTube doesn't have the best track record with live streaming. Live streaming has always been something that they've tried, and Twitch just always did it better. Twitch always had a better streaming platform, more user-friendly, more streamer-friendly than YouTube. That's just the facts, Jack. Now the question is Twitch going to be folded into YouTube streaming? Is YouTube streaming going to make a comeback, and we are going to have to hope that enough of Twitch TV's infrastructure and enough of Twitch TV's know-how makes its way to YouTube that YouTube streaming isn't a farce anymore? Because it was a farce. It was just bad. Twitch or YouTube streaming was awful. It was just bad. And Twitch's streaming was, infinitely better. Or is it going to be that Twitch gets, scuttled, and then or Twitch gets just, broken down into parts and absorbed into different facets of YouTube? Or is YouTube going to have the foresight, which is probably the best case scenario, is YouTube going to have the foresight to take a step back and to not try to say, this is going to be YouTube's thing now, this is going to be Google's thing? Will they have the wherewithal to realize that Twitch has got something on the ball? And while it's Google's asset now, or if the sale goes through, and if the rumors are even true, while this is Google's asset, Twitch knows what they're doing, and let Twitch stay twitch.tv. Let them do what they're doing. Give them the capital to scale up their technology and drive people to Twitch TV, integrate somehow VODs with YouTube, etc. There already is something like that with Twitch, in terms of you can upload your VODs straight to YouTube, use their fantastic internet capabilities in order to do it. But if YouTube goes the route, suffice it to say, a lot of people are worried, just straight scared, that YouTube is going to come in and just destroy everything. YouTube or Google, by way of YouTube, bought Twitch to buy out its competitor and is just going to make it go away, or is going to try to integrate it with its YouTube.com site. And I think that would be an awful move. I think that would be probably one of the silliest decisions YouTube or Google, I say Google, I say YouTube, they're interchangeable. One of the silliest decisions Google can make. Let Twitch be Twitch. If you want to brand integrate, you want to link, if you want to cross-platform things, so YouTube, people with YouTube accounts can have a Twitch account, or people that that are creating content on both YouTube and Twitch, make it easier for them to notify YouTube following or Twitch following of VODs and vice versa. If you want to do that, great, but let Twitch be Twitch. TwitchTV should stay TwitchTV with the branding, the purple, all that stuff. Let them have their $1 billion. You paid a lot for the asset, Google, sure, but they know what they're doing. Let them stay there. Let them continue to sign the deals with Microsoft and Sony for stream integration. Let them sign the deals for advertisements. Let them do all these things. Don't try to make it, and let them, most importantly, especially from my perspective, don't try to be don't deal with the quote talent. Let Twitch, again, be Twitch with the talent on Twitch TV. With the people that create the content on Twitch TV, let the powers that be at Twitch, I'm assuming they're not all going to leave, even though they're all going to be really rich, let Twitch continue to deal with these people. Don't try to make Twitch the newest portion of YouTube. Just let Twitch be an autonomous asset that makes you a lot of money. That would be the best. That would probably be the best scenario. Now, will it happen? I don't know. I don't know how self-aware Google is, I guess is the question. It all depends on how self-aware the people in the YouTube division are, where they said, man, we kind of screwed the pooch on Google+. We screwed the pooch on streaming. We screwed the pooch on... We're screwing a lot of pooches here. We screwed the pooch on Content ID. We were way too ham-handed with that. Went way too far. And this managed affiliated stuff. So much blowback, so much stupid, bad PR that we're just gonna have to hold it off, because there would be riots in the streets over all these plans that we have implemented. Google has screwed Google by way of YouTube, and YouTube by way of Google screwed a lot of damn pooches. They won't even call them anymore. Too much, the pooch says. It says no more for me, please. Go find something else. Go find the dead horse and beat that. Stop screwing me. And if Google is aware of that, if the Google CEO or the YouTube CEO or however they are structured over there, if they realize that, if they can say honestly in meetings, yeah, we fucked all this up, then it's a good bet that Twitch is going to be handled in the best possible way. If Google is aware of the fact that it is fallible, and it has, especially with YouTube, fucked up a lot of things, Twitch is probably going to be safe. Twitch will sell for a lot of money your favorite people who help bring you this startup company, this lovable startup that everybody loves, that was really awesome in dealing with content creators. That's probably going to stay, and it'll be totally fine. However, if in the meeting rooms at YouTube they say, well, the users just don't get it, the answer is more algorithmic things than that and the other thing, and we didn't fuck it up. It's just the users weren't ready for this, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If they cannot admit that they've been screwing up a lot of things with YouTube, they are going to ruin their brand new shiny toy, $1 billion toy. They're going to take it and smash it all over the place, and it's going to suck. Twitch, the Twitch platform is going to be taken, is going to be ruined. So it all depends, in my mind at least, on how self-aware Google is about past mistakes. Can they admit past mistakes and say, yeah, we just messed that one up. We messed that up. Yeah, we got a lot of mess ups here. We are going to try to make this one right. Twitch will probably be okay. Hopefully. But if they don't, man, we're going to see the return of YouTube streaming. And there's a very good chance at that point that it's not done right. That it's and in fact, it's going to be awful. But that's a long ways away. And of course, there is a chance. I don't know how slight, I don't know how probabilistic it is or how probable it is. But there's a chance that the Department of Justice will not allow this sale to go through. Because keep in mind, YouTube and Twitch are competitors. YouTube has a streaming service. YouTube is the biggest video on demand service in the world, but it does also have a streaming service. And Twitch is the biggest streaming service, at least as far as user generated content goes. Biggest user generated streaming service in the world. That's Twitch. And what this looks like is Google buying its chief competitor, which could be viewed as anti-competitive. There's a chance that the Department of Justice does not allow this to go through. There's a chance that the government looks at that and says, no, the two biggest companies, the two biggest rivals in this game, in the video streaming, user-generated video streaming game, should not become one. They should not come together to form this huge conglomerate on both video on demand and streaming. There's a chance. And reports are that there are other suitors. There have been other suitors for Twitch, including Microsoft. And if the Department of Justice says, no, you cannot, Twitch, you cannot sell yourself off to Google because you guys are competitors and that would be anti-competitive, then it's probable, or it becomes likely then, that Twitch is going to be sold off perhaps at a lesser price to something like Microsoft. So don't, even if Google isn't aware, even if Google, it is for sure that Google would break this billion-dollar toy, don't freak out too much, because this still has to pass, this deal has to pass Department of Justice muster. It's not just like, oh yeah, $1 billion, yeah, we own Twitch now. All right, let's start fucking it up. The Department of Justice may have something to say about it, and they may say, no, no, this isn't going to happen. That's too anti-competitive. Find somebody else. Find a different suitor, Twitch, for your wares. But still, $1 billion in a vacuum, we should all be kind of happy about that. Let's do a little Would You Rather before we get into a little news. Oh, man, this one's shuddering. Would you rather, this is from yourather.com, would you rather have all fingernails and toenails removed quickly or deep paper cuts on the webbing between each finger and toe slowly? Oh, my God. Oh, man. I don't know. All fingernails and toenails removed quickly or deep paper cuts on the webbing between each finger and toe. Deep paper cuts, they say. Oh, I can't do it. I can't. I'm sorry. No. It's no. It's like, would you rather have a pineapple stuffed up your asshole or a pine cone stuffed up your dick hole? And it's just like, do you want excruciating pain or excruciating pain? I'm good, man. I think I'm pretty good. Would you rather be unable to experience sadness or be unable to experience anger? You know, be unable to experience sadness, or unable to experience anger. I would rather probably be unable to experience. Is remorse rolled up into sadness? It's got to be, right? Yeah. I don't know. Sadness, in terms of just being downtrodden, sucks. It really sucks. And if you remove that from your life, there's a good chance that you remove the chance for depression. However, I'm going to operate under the assumption that remorse is also rolled into the idea of sadness. And we all know how going through life without being able to experience, much less articulate remorse is probably not a good idea. You're not going to get very far if you don't feel sorry. That would basically make you a sociopath, I think. I don't know. Everything's a sociopath nowadays. Who knows? I'm talking out of my ass, as usual. But, you know, not being able to experience remorse, although in the moment feeling remorseful kind of sucks, it's good. That's how you learn. That's how you build from things, is by feeling remorseful and being able to have that you know, the looking back and saying, oh, okay, well, I didn't like that, or that was bad, and okay, well then let's not do that anymore. But being able to unexperience anger, just because I don't experience anger does not mean that I couldn't defend myself or couldn't fuck with people, because anger and anger responses can be very detrimental. You know, there are some just, you know, feel-gooders who will say all anger is unhealthy and there's no such thing as healthy anger. And I disagree, because at some point you've got to have the ability to stand up for yourself and say fuck you. And if it means getting angry, then so be it. But, you know, anger and anger responses can be very detrimental to what you're trying to do. It can be detrimental to personal relationships, business relationships, and just general interactions with humans. And so if I were not able to experience anger, I'm also assuming that anger responses wouldn't happen. Duh. And I would have to say that I would rather not have anger responses and be able to be sad but remorseful than I would be able to get angry but not feel sadness and not feel remorse. So I am going to say I would rather be unable to experience anger. Would you rather? Oh, God, nope, not touching this one. Not touching this one. Would you rather date someone who always looks 12 or date someone who always looks 80? Nope. Nope. Well, no, I'll say this. I'll say this. There are certain kinds of people, particularly Asian women. Some Asian women look like they're 12 until they're 35. It doesn't matter how their actual biological age. Up until 35, they look like they're 12 or 14. But once they hit 35 or once they hit 40, bam, they look like they're 85. So there's a chance, you know, if I'm dating somebody that always looks like they're 12 years old, I can say, no, she's not actually 12. She's just, you know, she's 25, but she's that kind of Asian. It just looks young. I mean, at 35, there's going to be an acceleration. There's going to be a fucking escalation at the age of 35. But we got about 10 years for that. So I would say date somebody who always looks 12. Not because they look like they're 12. Don't get it twisted. Don't go crazy with that.
Kiss my ass, you don't like it. It's my house.
Don't get it twisted. You easy like Sunday morning shoplifting. It's not because they look like they're 12. It's because if they perpetually look like they're 12, they're probably much older than that. There's just something else. It's just not a defect, but it's just a product of their genetics that they look like they're 12. And I can explain that to people. and say, hey, that's just genetics. Yeah, they look young. Wouldn't you want to look this young? What's wrong with you? Why don't you want to look young? You're saying that this woman looks really nice and she looks youthful, and you're jealous of her, and you're trying to say that she should look older, and then I should feel like a piece of shit for dating her because she looks youthful. You've got the issue. You've got the problem. And I could spin it around, but if I'm dating somebody who always looks like they're 80, it's like elder abuse with my cock. They're like, what are you doing? You're taking advantage. If I'm dating Demi Moore, they're like, you can't do that to an octogenarian. You're going to hurt them. With the things you do, that will just decimate them, and that's not cool. That's elder abuse. You're fucked up. And see, many people would shy away from the, 12-year-old, I think I'm a pedophile. No, fuck that. You turn it around on them. Spin it around. Say what? You don't want to look youthful? You wouldn't want to look youthful? What the fuck is wrong with you? Why can't this girl look youthful? Why is that bad? Why should she be precluded from having the joy that I can bring her because she looks youthful and you're just jealous? And in fact, it's the other way around with the 80-year-old, because if the 80-year-old, you know you're safe from people thinking you're a pedophile, but you're not safe from people thinking that you're abusing this elderly person or you're taking advantage of it. You're going to break a hip when you're balls deep. That's no. It's got to be date somebody who always looks like they're 12. Holy shit, we're 46 minutes in. Let's do a little news, baby. Today in the news. Just a few things. We covered a little bit of a newsy topic earlier, talking about Twitch and Google. But I think Twitch and Google deserved its own segment. Today, we're going to be talking a little bit about pot brownies. Yeah, man. Woo, pot brownies. Yeah, dude. Talk a little bit about that. And we'll get into some other stuff. We'll see where that takes us. He's a man facing a possible life sentence for pot brownies, as well as scientists discover how to turn light into matter. Does it matter? Find out in the news. So, there's a Texas man. This is from KHON2.com. Not to be confused with KHON.com. This is number 2, baby. This is from Round Rock, Texas. This is the article. A Texas man accused of making and selling marijuana brownies is facing up to life in prison if convicted. That's because officials in Round Rock have charged him with a first-degree felony. A first-degree felony. 5 years to life in prison for a first-degree felony. It's a move that the man's family and attorney... It's a move that the man's family and attorney outraged. Okay, so somebody did not proofread this article. It's a move that has the man's family and attorney outraged. Quote, it's outrageous. It's crazy. I don't understand it, said Joe Lavaro, the man's father said. Again, anyway. Like many familiar with the case, Joe does not understand why his son is in so much legal trouble. The first of what may be many court appearances for Jacob Lavaro was Thursday morning. The 19-year-old is accused of making and selling pot brownies. He's charged with a first-degree felony. 5 years to life? I'm sorry. I'm a law-abiding citizen. I'm a conservative. I love my country. I'm a Vietnam veteran. Holy shit, do we really need a laundry list of what this guy is? This is not your story. This is your kid. Who gives two shits and a dog fuck that you're a law-abiding citizen and conservative? I don't care. You're a meth head who rapes children. That does not mean your son is guilty or not guilty of selling pot brownies of this first-degree felony. Shut the fuck up, man. But anyway, he says, I'm a Vietnam veteran, but I'll be damned. This is wrong. This is fucking wrong, the father said. Lavaro's lawyer agrees. He says, I was outraged. I've been doing this 22 years as a lawyer, and I've got 10 years as a police officer, and I've never seen anything like this, said Jack Holmes. The former high school football player has a clean record. The charge is so severe because the recipe includes hash oil. Here's why. That allows the state to use the sugar, cocoa, butter, and other ingredients to determine the weight of the drugs. So here's the deal. For those of you that it was confusing to me for a bit. But because this kid's pot brownies include hash oil, which is regarded as like pure THC in Texas law, or it's regarded by Texas law as pure THC, because it uses hash oil, they can use not the amount of hash oil used, not the actual, I poured, I don't know, is it tablespoons? Is it by the cup? I don't know how much hash oil you use in pot brownies. I honestly don't. But I'm going to say I poured I don't know. If it's pure THC, I poured 2 tablespoons of hash oil into this mix. I don't know. It will, whatever the recipe calls for. I wanted the brownies to be a little bit more flaky. But because he put hash oil into the entire mix, the mix itself, not the hash oil, not the 2 tablespoons of hash oil, but the entire weight, or however much 2 tablespoons of hash oil weighs, a couple ounces. Not a couple ounces of hash oil, but the entire weight of the entire mix of hash oil. It's not that this is it is treated as though the mix itself is a controlled substance. So you turned 2 tablespoons, like a couple ounces of hash oil, into, I don't know, how much does a bowl of brownies weigh? A pound, let's say a pound, okay? If you've got a pound of, if your mix is a pound, or the brownies you make weigh a pound, you, by law, have a pound of THC. Now, do you really have a pound of THC? No, you don't. But it's a tricky little way for prosecutors to accelerate the crimes, the charged crimes, and to accelerate the punishment. It's like, if the guy was just caught in possession of the hash oil, however much hash oil he put into the mix, if he was just caught with that, his punishment, or the crime he's charged with, and the possible punishment would be completely different than what he has now when he turned it into, let's say, a pound for his pot brownie mix. And so now he's facing 5 years to life in prison, because now they're charging him with a felony, intent to distribute, whatever else bullshit, because drugs are bad, drugs are bad, drugs are bad. Now, this is all bullshit, and the prosecutor who's actually going to try this case, not that they should be disbarred, or not that they should be killed or anything like that, but there should be some amount of shame, because you know exactly what you're doing. Even when you know what you're doing is legal, there's got to be some morality inside you that says, yeah, technically speaking, I could charge this kid with a first-degree felony of possession of this controlled substance, because the entire mix is treated as the controlled substance, not just the amount of hash oil that was put into the mix. It's the entire mix. So I could charge him with whatever. I could charge him to the moon for all this stuff and put him away for a long, 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 long time. Or I could charge him with possession of 2 tablespoons of hash oil and say, whatever it is, whatever 2 tablespoons, whatever the punishment is for that, here you go, kid. And it doesn't even have to be, I know drugs aren't really as bad, and it's just kind of an antiquated notion that we punish these things so severely and that they're even illegal in the first place. And not even antiquated, it's just kind of a bullshit reason, and it's been so long that we've dealt with this bullshit reason. It's become ingrained in our minds that there was some noble cause for why these things were made illegal. But it doesn't even have to be that. It's just, you're 19 years old, you've never done anything wrong, and it's clear that you're just making pot brownies to get high. You do not have a pound of hash oil. The prosecutor in this case knows that this kid is not in possession of a pound of hash oil. He is using a technicality in the law, or using an accelerant in the law in order to make it appear as though this kid did it, so that he can get a bigger, juicier conviction, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He gets his name in the papers. All these people are talking about him, and he's tough on crime. So when he runs for governor, he can say, I was tough on crime. I busted a kid, and I put him in jail. He had a pound of hash oil. Will it matter anymore that pound was the mix and not the actual amount of hash oil? And there's none of that. So the prosecutor should be shamed, and hopefully the judge, hopefully the judge throws it all out. But here's the thing, right? The same thing happened with, I believe it was like 2 years ago, Sam Hurd, a fringe NFL player. He played for the Chicago Bears for a while, and he was running huge amounts of pot. I believe it was pot, perhaps cocaine. Anyway, huge amounts of drugs through Chicago, trying to make deals to be Tony Montana. Like, that's how much pot or whatever drug this guy was trying to move. He's playing in the NFL. Like, during the season, the guy was negotiating. He was being watched by the DEA during the season when he would show up to Hallis Hall in Chicago and show up to Soldier Field. He was trying to negotiate drug deals and trying to negotiate trafficking. But here's the thing. The guy never pulled a gun on anybody. The guy never hurt anybody. There was never a violent crime committed. Ever. Never a violent crime committed. Just like this kid in Round Rock, Texas. The guy wasn't running drugs, shooting people, gangbanging, trying to run drugs. The guy was trying to make pot brownies to get him and his friends high. No violent crime, no malice, nobody was hurt, and this kid is facing 5 years to life. Sam Hurd similarly arrested on federal charges, and they were trying, I'm not sure on the status of the case, but they were trying to put him away for life. That's what they were asking. They wanted a life sentence for drug trafficking. That's how bad this war on drugs has gotten. That's how bad it's got. Never mind. I don't even want to. I will reserve it as my ace in the hole. I don't even want to talk about the bullshit studies that show that drugs are bad for you, etc. And I won't talk about the studies that show that they're not really any more detrimental to humans, at least marijuana. We'll talk about marijuana here because it's easier. That show that marijuana isn't really any more harmful than alcohol could ever be. In a worst case scenario, marijuana is on par with alcohol in terms of what it does to you. It's really not. It's probably a lot safer to use than alcohol, especially habitually. But I won't even talk about any of that. I won't talk about anything that shows that despite all this war on drugs, there's so many people that want to smoke pot still and want to snort cocaine. It's not working. Here's the thing. Here's my proof that the war on drugs is bullshit. And isn't working, has never worked, and will never work. Because we are trying, we as a society, okay? Because think about this. When you get charged with a federal crime, let's say you're an unlucky bastard, you're charged with a federal crime, and you might wonder, why do I say we as a society? It's the government that does it. I wouldn't put this. No. When you get charged with a federal crime, or even a crime in your state of residence, it is the state of blah, blah, blah versus you. It is, when you get charged with a federal crime, the people of the United States of America versus you. Our names, all of our names, are attached to federal crimes. All of them, because the people of the United States of America, that's us. So we as a society, despite what you may think personally, we as a society have allowed it to get to a point where non-violent drug offenders, completely non-violent drug offenders are going away for life. We're trying to put them in prison for life. Think about what we're saying there. We are saying you are so toxic, despite not hurting anybody, despite not being violent, despite not being malicious, we view you as so toxic to our society that we want to put you in a special place for the rest of your life, away from society, so that you can no longer be nonviolent, not hurt people. It doesn't make any sense. And here's the big thing. We are one of the most recidivist societies in the world, the most, I believe. Anybody who commits a crime in America is way more likely to commit another crime and go back to jail. We are the most, there is so much recidivism in our society that it looks as though we can't help but keep ourselves out of jail. But what we're really doing is we can't help but stop putting people in jail. Because one of the reasons for the huge recidivism rates is because we keep putting people in jail for nonviolent drug crimes. If you have more than 2 joints of pot on you in a traffic stop, you're intent to distribute. And boom, you're in fucking prison. Now, is that really going to make you stop smoking pot? No, you're going to do it again. Because, shit, this might make it even more likely, man. I've got to forget about the fact that I was charged or am charged or went to jail for intent to distribute. Intent to distribute marijuana, that's a serious fucking thing. And I got to forget about it. I'm going to continue to toke up. And then what's going to happen? You're going to have pot on you again, and your parole officer is going to show up, or you're going to be caught again somehow with pot. Bam, 2-time offender. You are recidivist. Get back in prison with with an even harsher sentence because we put you in jail for a nonviolent drug crime in the first place. We are perpetually shooting our society in the foot when we continue to prosecute and harshly punish nonviolent drug offenders. And think about this, if we make some of these drugs legal, pot, possibly cocaine, if we make these things legal, not decriminalized, no, because that's bullshit, legal, perfectly legal on the order of alcohol and tobacco. If we think you are responsible enough to let yourself buy alcohol at your leisure, you can buy pot and cocaine at your leisure. What will that do to the need for violence in the drug trade? Will it go down or up if all of this is legalized? My guess, I could be wrong, is that it'll go down. We will be less violent. There will be no or fewer violent drug enforcers needed if all of it's legal. There won't need to be territory guarded as harshly as it is now. Less, even fewer, perhaps none, no shootouts with cops over drug territory, et cetera, et cetera. All these things will probably go down. But because it looks good in the papers to be hard on crime, and it's really easy to get somebody, it's probably really hard to convict somebody of a murder. But if you catch a punk with pot brownies and you can charge them with a felony, with a first-degree felony, then you fucking win. Then it's like, yeah, I got a first-degree felony conviction. Woohoo, look at me. The war on drugs is bullshit. And you don't even need to drum out the stupidity of it's not nearly as bad as alcohol, marijuana. Again, we're talking about pot. It's not even nearly as bad as alcohol, but it's punished. It's a controlled substance, and you go to jail for even having it, and if you have enough of it, we assume that you're intending to distribute it, and you're going to get arrested. And we do all that, and it's bullshit. You don't even need to point out how really not harmful it is, or how harmful it is relative to other legal substances that adults can buy for themselves whenever they want. You don't even need to do that. Just look at what we do to people who don't hurt anybody and have no malicious intent. Look at what we do to them. Is the war on drugs really winning? How could it possibly be winning if some shit kicker in some shit kicking town in Texas is trying to put a 19-year-old kid who just wanted to get high, him and his friends high on a little pot, he wants to put him in jail for 5 to whatever, for the rest of his life. There's a possibility that this kid is going to go to jail for the rest of his life for a nonviolent drug crime. War on drugs is, as Penn and Teller would say, bullshit. Woo, that was a good Lefty show. Got my juices flowing. Got a lot to do today. I thank you all for joining the Lefty Show as we bring it home. Thank you to everybody for liking, favoriting, and watching on YouTube. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you to everybody that's been sharing the podcast with your friends, your families, your coworkers. It really does help me out, and it helps the podcast grow, and I thank you for continuing to do so. Thank you to everybody who even considered donating. I'mRaising.com/643 Productions is where you do that. Once again, that's I'mRaising.com/643 Productions. If you want to help out the show, donations are greatly appreciated. There is a link in the description. Thank you to all watching, liking, favoriting, sharing, donating, all the things you do. You know I love it. We'll be back tomorrow. More of the Lefty Show coming your way. Thank you guys for joining. I got to get out of here. Bye.
Bitch, I'm flowing straight from the survival scroll.